Scott, let's give Colby Plus some love because it's true. We love him.
Hell yeah, Colby Plus. You know what? The water took a dip down here in San Diego. It's probably 65 degrees, which for these old bones, that means a brand new full suit from Colby Plus. I'm super psyched on I got two really good ones, right? I've got the Yamamoto rubber. Is that what it's called? Yamamoto? Yeah,
It is.
Yamamoto rubber. And I've got the white label, which is my newest one and the one I took to Chicama, and it was awesome. So Colby Plus, uh, all your like super warm wetsuit needs at a really prime price. You get the best of both worlds.
That's the idea. Direct to consumer, best quality product, direct to consumer, so you get it at an incredible price. And they have something in the works that I'm excited to share. I can't quite reveal it yet, but really, really an incredible product that we're going to be introducing in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. But Colby is spelled Colby, and then plus is the special ingredient for the given product. And in this case, Yamamoto. So go check out colbyplus.com. And then real water sports. Look, when we went to Chicama a couple of weeks ago, almost a month ago now, we were relying on a video that Real Water Sports made from their previous trip to Chicama just to learn kind of the lay of the land and the style of wave. They're going back. They're going in March 2026, and you can go if you want to join the Real crew.
Yeah, look, I mean, the guys at Real Water Sports, one of the things that they provide is these experts that'll sort of get you on your way and lead you towards, your successful surf evolvement. And I certainly learned how to foil, and so did you, um, with the help of Joey and at Real Water Sports. He was the guy that kind of dialed us in. And you can go to Chicama with Joey, with another guy, Austin Letter, and they will guide you into and get you up and going on foil, quicker than anyone in the business. So, I did struggle early on with trying to get up on foil, as I've mentioned on this show, using the tow rope, which I struggled sort of going from a dead stop to high speed with the proper technique. Um, and it took me a while, and in fact, I had kind of given up on it. And then I finally got it. But my point is that if you go with Real Water Sports and get the excellent coaching from these guys, you'll be up on the first day and going. And as was the case with you and I, with Joey on our first day when he towed us behind the ski and got us into the e-foil as well. So I guess what I'm getting at is go with the experts. If you want to up your game, Real Water Sports is the call.
Totally. Yeah, Scott's referring to a trip that he and I did to the Outer Banks about 2 years ago. That's where we learned how to foil, and Joey was our teacher there. We spent 3 days with him. He was our instructor, and then he's going on this Chicama trip, so you can learn from the same guy along with Austin. But yeah, that it's such a complicated thing to learn until you have somebody to hold your hand and show you exactly how to do it. And with your surfing skills, you have the skill set, it's just adjacent to. And so having somebody like Joey who's an expert at both and being able to just say, lean forward more. You're like, oh, I didn't, surfing doesn't lean forward, like that's all I need to do. Okay, try again. Boom, you got it figured out. So it's super helpful. And yeah, you can go on these real water sport trips. They're actually doing 2 weeks. They're doing a resort takeover like we did, but 2 weeks of it. So there's room for two different groups of people. And again, it's March 2026. You go to realwatersports.com to find out more about those trips and join them. The other detail, though, I mean, we're talking about foiling, but obviously you could surf that wave too. Our buddy Trip, who's co-owner at Real Water Sports, chimed in and he goes, I agree with the longer board idea, but a long fish is what Trip has written down there before. He took two Christiansens. He took a 610 and a 710, the Longfish 2.0 and the original Longfish OG. And he's like, those are the perfect boards for that wave, kind of as you guys identified. It's a huge playing field, so you can cover a lot of ground in terms of paddling. But then the canvas itself of the wave, you want projection on it and that long rail allows you to cover a lot of ground. So follow that lead from Trip and kind of what we identified on our first trip there, if when you're considering surfboards to bring.
Yeah, what I noticed more than anything was guys on shorter boards were cutting back and losing the wave. And I think on that wave, generally speaking, of course, each wave is different and has its own dynamic, but I think in general, you don't want to cut back if you reach a flat section. You kind of want to drive through and connect to the next little sandbar that's going to reel off. And those long fishes are perfect for that.
Yeah, nailed it. And you can get them, by the way. They sell Christensen's at realwatersports.com.
Heck yes.
As we see some movement at the takeoff zone, it's Kelly Slater grabbing rail.
Yeah, guy. Yeah, guy, David. It seems as if you're dressed for like, where are you and what time of the day is it? Because it looks as if you're drinking like some sort of Chablis and you're dressed for an evening out. Where in the hell are you?
Have you ever heard of Chianina cattle?
No.
I'm in the homeland and we're grilling one up tonight.
What time is it there? Like 4 p.m.?
Yeah,
Oh,
4:07 in the evening. I'm in Tuscany, Scott.
good for you, dude. It looks beautiful. You wear it well, my friend. You look comfortable. Are you reading any of those books behind you? I would love for you to pull a book out and give me a book title. Like, is this a bed and breakfast you're at, or
No, we have the whole estate to ourselves.
you're kidding?
Um, La Familia Spalletta, Aristocratica del Montalbano tra 800 through 900. This is the Montalbano estate that I'm staying at. It's a winery and 10-bedroom um, villa
Yeah.
in
Just
Tuscany.
just you three?
No, it's Lauren's extended family.
Oh, cool.
It's my mother-in-law's 70th birthday, so they rented this villa, and the quarters that we're in, that I'm sitting in right now, Lauren and I have our own bedroom. Austin has his own bedroom, and this is a living space just for us. And then her sisters and boyfriend, or the other sister and husband and kid, have their own quarters. Mom and dad have the main one. There's a winery, a functional winery over there. We got a tennis court, we got a swimming pool. It ain't bad.
Wow, that's gorgeous. Good for you. And I imagine the weather's nice.
Yeah, it is. Hit the low 70s today, so
Yeah.
not super hot, but not cold at all. Um, it's a dream, man. It is. We're tripping. It's an
You,
ideal vacation.
you've got your white linen on. You're really I don't think you could I feel like you've painted a picture right here. I've got a portrait.
Yeah, living the dream, dude. And like I said, this Chianina cattle. So I've been to Florence so Tuscany is the region, and then there's these different towns, of course. Florence is the main one, banking capital of the world in the Renaissance. Um, I've been to Florence 3 times, and I've never had Florentine style steak before, which is what they're known for. It's this type of cattle. You've heard of Wagyu, obviously, in Japan. This is similar but different, and they dry age it. Um, and it's despite me loving food and despite me knowing this is what they're known for, and despite me having been here 3 times before, I just simply never had it. I think the thing is it's giant and it's expensive. So you need like a family of people, and I was here maybe with my mom last time or whatever. So we just stuck to pasta, pizza, whatever. This time, I want to do it right. So I went to the butcher this morning, the local butcher that the homeowner recommended, and got these fatties that are dry aged. They look incredible. They had to like cut off all of the um, mold basically from the dry
Yeah.
aging process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just staring at them all day long. I go in the fridge, I unwrap it all, and I just look at it, and I'm like, all right, we're in. And so tonight I'm gonna fire up the barbecue, and these things are like a couple inches thick. And he
Okay.
goes, 5 minutes on this side, 5 minutes on that side, and then put it upright for 10 minutes.
Oh,
So they
interesting.
serve them raw in the middle.
Yeah. That's gnarly.
And
Let me ask you this, if I might, because far be it from me to give you cooking advice. But I'm going to throw something at you that I know you know, but I sometimes make a mistake here, and that is pulling the steaks out to let them age at room temperature.
Yeah, they're sitting on the counter right now.
Yeah. Okay. And you've got the Malden salt.
No, I don't.
Oh,
I'm using pink Himalayan. I didn't bring Maldon with me, and today at the butcher shop, I looked for salt. They didn't have it, but the house has pink Himalayan, so I'm gonna go with that.
all right. Fair enough.
But yeah, no, the room temp thing, just to clarify for people, you want the meat to cook at a similar temperature from kind of the outside of it to the center of it. So if it's cold, obviously the inside is colder than the outside. The outside will warm quicker once you take it out of the fridge. So you want the entire thing to be the same temperature.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, my parents taught me things will develop bacteria if you leave it on the counter too long. Meat will, for example. The reality is your meat isn't going to develop bacteria on it for 8 hours, let's say. So you're fine. Take it out of the fridge, err on the side of like be too warm. Like if you're going to cook dinner at 7, go ahead and take it out at 5 and just make sure that it's fully room temp. Because I see people recommend a certain amount of time. They'll be like, oh, 30 minutes. I'm like, well, you don't know how much or how thick that person's cut of meat was. If it's a 2-inch steak, you need more than 30 minutes. If so just err on the side of leave it out too long. I guarantee you it will not form bacteria on it. Even if it had some micro tiny something, you're going to grill it anyways. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to cook it off.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So go ahead, throw it out on the table at 3 p.m. If you're going to cook dinner at 7, you're fine. Room temp is far superior to cooking a cold steak.
for sure. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that I make. And it's the most frustrating one when I run home and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm cooking steaks. And I forgot to pull them out.
No. And then equally as important, let it rest after you pull it off.
For sure. I wrap mine. I know you don't like this, but I'll wrap mine in aluminum foil.
Well, it's not that I don't like it, it just continues to cook it.
Right.
So it depends how long you cooked it. And if you want to continue cooking it, wrap it in aluminum foil and that'll continue cooking it. If you want to barely cook it continually, tent the aluminum foil so that there's airflow. And if you don't want it to cook at all, go ahead and don't put it. Or like if you know you overcooked it a little bit,
Yeah.
definitely don't wrap that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned that. So tenting the aluminum foil, I only knew wrapping it or not wrapping it, but now tenting it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't want it to cook as much, tent it. But I'm going to blow your mind right now.
Yes. Yes, you are.
Um, to do less of a cook when it's resting, I keep butcher paper on hand and I'll slather it in tallow, which is beef fat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So slathered in tallow, wrapped in butcher paper. So now it's absorbing additional fat.
That's amazing. And then do you wipe that off or you just pull it out as is and cut it?
It's all dissolved at that point. It's all just liquefied at that
Where do
point.
you get tallow? Like, is that something that I can get at Whole Foods or something? There's beef tallow. It comes in a tub.
100% you could buy it at Whole Foods in a jar, but I would recommend get it on Amazon for a whole gallon for $25. I get Wagyu tallow on Amazon, $25. It's a gallon.
And butcher paper, is that like, oh, just like the white butcher paper that they wrap your meat in at the butcher shop?
Yeah, sometimes though, like it'll be wax lined. You don't want
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Yeah.
Like butcher paper traditionally doesn't have wax on it, but sometimes like if you buy fish at Whole Foods that'll have wax on it, you don't want it. Butcher paper is just regular without the
Right.
wax. It's kind of
Right.
like a parchment.
Wow. So is there pressure on you? Do you feel pressured? I mean, it sounds like you've invested a lot, both fiscally and emotionally, into these steaks. I sometimes feel pressure, especially when there's people over. What's the
Um,
pressure level? What's the anxiety level like? Are you about to paddle out into a heat?
Not at all. So, um, I feel I've done it enough. I'm super comfortable executing what the appropriate cook is for this meat. The problem is when you're in a group of 10 people,
Yeah.
everybody likes their meat cooked differently. So I actually bought two Chianina uh, steaks. One of them is the dry aged one, which I'm going to cook rare because that's the appropriate call. The other one isn't as aged. I'm going to overcook that. I'll cook it medium and it's a cheaper steak. But then additionally, I've got a griddle set aside in the kitchen on like indoors that I'm going to put on low. So when I bring the steaks in and I slice the steak and I serve it, if you want yours cooked additionally, go into the kitchen and just sear it, cook it a little
Yeah.
bit more additionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm
Interesting.
gonna
So these steaks that you've purchased, they're individually cut already for the person, or
I
they're too
bought two
big?
bone-in ribeyes that have two bones in them. So it's probably 3 inches thick bone-in ribeye, and you cook it like that, and then I'll slice it from there.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
After it's cooked, after it's rested, and then you can take your slice into the kitchen on the griddle and grill it to well done if you want.
Right. So when somebody like looks up at you and gives you that look, you're just like, you into the kitchen.
We will judge you while you're gone, and then you can come back and eat your well done steak.
You want some ketchup?
Exactly, exactly. But
Oh man, wow. Well, good for you. I had no, I thought I didn't know where you were, but I saw your background here and I was like, man, this guy's somewhere.
yeah, so mother-in-law's 70th, and then it just happened to be Lauren's birthday while we were here too. So she got to celebrate in Italy, which
Wow.
is pretty epic.
Yeah.
And then when we get back, it's my birthday, and we'll just ha- have like dinner at home, mac and cheese.
Okay, I've got
So
a who said that. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. Let's talk surf.
Yeah, let's talk surf. That was a fun little segue, or no.
You've been to Italy?
I've never been to Italy.
I feel like you, okay, my mistake.
I want to go to Italy. I have good friends that are from Italy. My
Your
friend,
wife wants to go to Italy, I'm
oh,
sure.
for sure. My buddy Luca Forte. Do you know Luca? He
How would I
does
know him?
um Baffa wines. What is it?
Oh yeah, Zio
Zio
Baffa.
Baffa. Yeah, Uncle Zio Baffa, which is named after Jason Baffa.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was in the town of Lucca yesterday.
Oh, cool. What was there a picture of him or like a painting or?
No, no, but you could tell him we had a great meal.
Okay, I will. I'll appreciate that. David, I've got a who said that. This is a portion where I try to stump David with a famous, well, no, with a quote by a famous surfer, and David tries to guess the surfer, and so do you at home. So, David, here's the quote. Who said that? And I'm going to give a little bit of context here. Kiki Spangler and Jimmy Lucas first took this surfer out at Pipeline for the first time in the winter of 1964 and 1965. And
Wow.
here's what that surfer had to say. Here is his quote. It was extremely difficult to get the correct angle of attack as you dropped in. You had this 10-foot piece of machinery with insufficient rocker, and it just didn't want to fit into that concave face. David, who said that? Was it A, Joey Cabell, B, Jock Sutherland, C, Jeff Hackman, or D, Jerry Lopez?
If you would have said Butch Van Arsdale, I would have picked that. I'm gonna go Jock Sutherland.
You're correct, David. It's Jock Sutherland. Jock Sutherland, who is an incredible human. If you get a chance, go on to Encyclopedia of Surfing, eos.surf, and just Google all of the incredible information or search for all the incredible information about Jock Sutherland. Didn't you interview his mother, Audrey
No,
Sutherland?
we no, you and I talked about doing it, or that we should do it,
Yeah,
but I never did.
I'm not sure if she's still with us, but anyway, Jock Sutherland, and I bring that up, of course, David, because we have aboard hand-shaped Dick Brewer uh, pipeliner, Bing pipeliner, which was the board that, according to many that are in the know, was the game-changing board for you know big waves in Hawaii in the mid to late '60s. And we have a Dick Brewer Bing pipeliner balsa that's in the California Gold Surf auction, one of the 48 curated and vetted lots in the auction. So you're going to want to check out this groundbreaking design, the Bing pipeliner by Dick Brewer.
Amazing. So to give Audrey Sutherland due credit, the reason why we talked about her was because William Finnegan wrote an article about Jock Sutherland about a year ago. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
It was for the New Yorker, I believe.
Yeah.
He spent a couple of days in Hawaii with Jock and then did like a profile piece and kind of, you know, followed him through his day-to-day life now, but chronicled his importance and relevance in surf history. And he referenced Audrey Sutherland in a book that she had written called Paddling My Own Canoe. And so then you and I kind of went on a tangent to discuss that. And while you were talking, I just pulled up her Wikipedia page so that we can actually do her justice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she died in 2015, so we do not have the opportunity to interview her now. But Wikipedia says she was an American solo adventure traveler, kayaker, teacher, and author. She is best known for her solo adventure boating and swimming feats, which she documented in her books Paddling My Own Canoe and Paddling Hawaii and Paddling North. She has been described as a pioneer among women who did solo adventure travel. That Paddling North book was a 850-mile solo journey in Alaska at age 60.
This woman's incredible.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
I
Um, in the section about her adventuring and travel writing, it said that she was a resourceful traveler, purchasing her inflatable kayak, which was her exclusive mode of transportation. She explored 20-mile stretch along the northern coast of Molokai, which I think is the one we discussed. And she used a rope and her tow gear to tow her sustenance behind her, including wine. So she was
Was
bringing
it
wine.
boxed or it must have been boxed? They didn't have boxed wine back then. Probably
I
in a
don't
little
know.
pouch. She had it in a pouch.
To avoid attention, she often disguised herself as a man, which is
Good for her.
interesting. In 1980, she did that 850-mile journey in Ketchikan to Skagway, Alaska, in her inflatable kayak. She quit her job to make the trip after her request for temporary leave was denied. She then wrote that book, and about her decision, she said, quote, I walked into the bathroom and I looked at the familiar person in the mirror getting older. I said, getting older, aren't you, lady? Better do physical things now. You can work at a desk later. That's what she said to herself when she was 60.
That's insane. I love that. That is so
She
great.
She continued her education and was a teacher at the University of Hawaii. The final exam for her course on adventuring was how to spend the night in one of Hawaii's outer islands, according to her former student, Rusty Lilico. Inspired by her experience, Lilico helped launch I'm not even going to try to pronounce this Hawaiian name, but it's a kayak club in Hawaii, and it's now Hawaii's oldest and largest recreational kayak club. Sutherland met regularly with members of the club to share her experience and teach kayaking skills. She created a list for her children called What Every Kid Should Be Able to Do by the Age of 16, which includes swim 400 yards easily, change a diaper, change a tire, and be happy and comfortable alone for 10 days, 10 miles from the nearest other person.
It's hard to, first of all, Jock Sutherland is wonderful. He's a character amongst characters, just a truly, um, I don't even know if I can put it into words, but I can't believe that his mom is outdoing him. I have Jock way up here, and Aubrey is like even more incredible than Jock Sutherland, which is hard to believe.
This would be so when I do eventually interview Jock, you or I, let's just have him talk about his mom the whole time.
Yeah, well, we better get on it, quickly. He was at the Boardroom Show, I think, last year, and he's just such a wonderful spirit, and you can tell that Aubrey has this. He must have got his spirit from his mother because what an adventurous person. Incredible.
Yeah, totally. And just for the record, it's Audrey with a D.
I'm sorry, Audrey. Thank you. Well,
When interviewed or when asked in an interview about her why she preferred to travel solo, she replied, "It's so much simpler alone. You don't have to worry about whether somebody's hungry or tired or angry or whatever. You just go alone. It's so much simpler that way. When you're by yourself, you can stop and look at something, learn a flower, watch an animal or a bird or whatever it is." She died near her seafront home in Haleiwa, that she had actually lived in since 1954. So she was shortly after her 94th birthday is actually when she passed. So she lived to the age of 94, and she died due to dementia-related symptoms.
Huh.
So,
All right. Well, rest in power.
Duke of the
Along,
week.
yeah, for sure. Along those same lines, I wrote something I'm going to try to not to bore you with, but I actually want to ask you some questions. So my daughter went surfing for the first time in about 6 months the other day, and she said to me, "Dad, I forgot how good surfing makes me feel. Every time I surf, I feel so good afterwards, almost high or vibrating with positivity." Now, we often say, David, you and I, and the surfers that are listening, that we have a need to get wet. Like, I'll be like, I got to go get wet, you know? And that euphemism for a feeling that surfing gives us, it's no one can quite pinpoint that feeling, right? Why do we feel so good? Is it high? Are we high? Is it best described as a high, David, or is it something else?
So I've got three components that I can answer this question with. Um, I think the first thing is just getting in the water and the sun is beneficial. So there's that. Then I think additionally, there's a athletic, any sort of a workout will give you a certain amount of the high that she's talking about. So those are two separate things. Because getting in the water by itself will do it. Getting in the gym by itself will do it. But if you combine the two, I think that that actually amplifies the experience. But then there's a third one that I personally believe that is a little bit less definable, that is specific to surfing, and that is the being one with Mother Nature. Like
Yeah,
you're enveloped in the womb of the ocean,
yeah,
and you're um, in poetry, your poetry in motion, surfing a wave, a physical piece of energy that the earth has created in real time, responding in real time. And so, whatever that is, that spiritual element is, does generate and stimulate some sort of a chemical reaction in your body that is a little bit less definable. So, it's an amalgamation of those three things that makes surfing different than anything else.
well, I love it. And it actually leads right into something that I was kind of excavating as I was writing. And so what I wrote is that there's a true humility, David, in the act of entering the ocean, as we are no longer draped in, and I quote, ourselves, our statement to others who we believe we are: man, woman, doctor, coach, black, white, David Scott. That ego begins to be washed away. Of course, we're also draped when we paddle out in these other categories by our storytelling culture, such as goofy foot, regular foot, hipster, so forth and so on. All of that gets in the way of what you just talked about. The ego is fantastically stabilized or right sized, if you will, by the ocean once we get into it. And hopefully, for a small moment, the ego is completely removed. And at some point during a surf session, there is a magic moment. And we don't recognize it, David, as a point in time. If we do, we've lost that moment. It is unrealized in the sense of time. In the external act of entering the ocean, an internal transformation occurs whereby one leaves the world they have created for themselves or has been created for them, and internally they transform into a sincere state of nature, as one with, not an individual and apart from. And so I think that that speaks to what you were just talking about there. I think when I get out of the water and I'm driving home and I'm just stoked, it's because I wasn't separated from, I was in fact a part of. And I think that that's, just an inherent part of who we're supposed to be as human beings, that not individuals above and beyond and looking down upon, but you know, there's a sense of community with nature. I was given a book on our trip to Chicama, and it's Thomas Merton who wrote about this guy Chuang Tzu, who's a Taoist philosopher from 250 BC. And Chuang Tzu said that cosmic humility is rooted in the true nature of things, full of life and awareness, responding with boundless vitality and joy to all living beings. And I think on some level, when we go surfing, we are finally rooted in the true nature of things until those outside elements, like I hope somebody watches me ride this wave or any of that other BS gets involved. There's a little bit of moment. Every surf session, there's one little moment where all that
Well,
shit gets dissolved.
that's my question to you is how much, what, if you had to assign a percentage, what percentage of any given session are you actually in harmony?
Obviously it changes from session to session where you're at, but I'm seeking it, like, and it's a subconscious thing. I don't go out going, oh yeah, I can't wait to find that moment where I'm like as one with the globe. But to answer your question, 15%, 20%,
Mine's low for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, it's low.
yeah.
Like, especially in Southern California, it's just the trappings of Southern California, the crowd, the parking, uh, even the paying for parking, the trash that you see once you park and you're like pissed that somebody littered on the beach. Like all of that stuff takes me out of it. Then you go and you paddle out and you have to engage with all the external stuff and it takes you out of that moment. But the older I get, I think the percentage of being in harmony with nature goes up actually to where I'm less concerned about my own presentation, but I'm also choosing into scenarios that have less of that stuff I just described. Like I'll park just somewhere way far away from anybody. And you know what it's like now? I'm surfing where the waves suck. So I'm not even going to bring a board. I'm just going to go swim and catch a couple body surf. I'm going to body surf a few waves today, and that's it, you know? But I then tap into that harmony element is now 80% based on that session. And I find that having more value than trying to rip 3 set waves at the pier.
Yeah, see, that's amazing, right? So, because that really brings us to this place where we're actually, as we get older, we're trying to find those moments. Like those moments are more important than, oh, I hope somebody sees me get tubed on the north side from
Right.
I hope I get a photo. Like as we get older, we realize we're actually something's pulling us towards that sense of global community with nature and outside of the ego. And I find it fascinating. There's another thing that you said though that's also really interesting, and Sam George brought it up. And I asked him this question that I'm asking you, like, and he said there's another thing, and it's buoyancy. And you mentioned going in the water, even without a board. I'm just going to go body surfing. And he brought in the idea of when we're in the water, we're floating. We're no longer affected by the forces of gravity as our body naturally knows, know that when we're on terra firma, like right now, there's gravity pushing me down. We're in the ocean. Now we get this sense of buoyancy and especially salt water. And there might be something there too that helps us get to that place where we're rooted in the true nature of things, as Chuang Tzu mentioned.
Um, I'm going to think more deeply about the buoyancy thing because I think he's absolutely right. And it's easy just to say he's right and move on, but I want to think a little bit more deeply because I think there is more to that.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like I told you this on air, but it's worth retelling. When I saw him, we spent the weekend together at the Florida Surf Film Festival a couple of months ago, and we were surfing in front of our buddy's condo in New Smyrna Beach, and it was really, really small, like longboard only. And he didn't want a longboard, so he grabbed a boogie board, like a slick bottom boogie board, and was running full speed in the shore break to where it was like a skimboard amount of water, just like 1 inch of water. And he would run full speed, jump onto his stomach, and skim on his belly on the bodyboard for like not 100 yards, but like 20 yards.
Yeah.
But it was like what you do when you're 8 years old, like you know exactly what I'm talking about, but you haven't done it in 50 years because you might break your back trying to do it.
Exactly.
But Sam George, he's just running literally full speed, which also you don't do as an adult. And he was holding the boogie board and then he would jump onto it on his belly and just skim across forever. And I'm like, he is a child, which
Yeah.
is phenomenal. Like, I
Yeah.
don't have the bravado to try to pull that off at this age, but he's going for it. And he had a blast.
Yeah. That's
So,
good. A child. He's a child of the storm. I think that's the name of his book that just came out.
great point.
Yeah. Well, Sam's a wonderful character. And so anyway, I'm sure we bored our listeners with that deep dive into philosophy of
No,
surfing, but
I have
maybe
an
not.
adjacent conversation I want to bring up with you.
Yeah.
I don't think that was boring.
Good. I don't either.
So Cliff Kapono was interviewed by, well, a couple of weeks ago, Vice, the media outlet, made a little documentary about Cliff Kapono, like a 30-minute documentary. They do this series called Let It Kill You, where they interview somebody who's like passionate about something. That's where the title comes from. And so they interviewed Cliff Kapono, did a profile piece on him. And what they stated through a number of the talking heads they interviewed stated Cliff Kapono is the smartest surfer on the planet. And then Stab Magazine wrote an article referencing the same kind of idea. He's the smartest surfer on the planet. And Dylan Graves says he's the only surfer I know who has a PhD, blah, 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 blah. I love Cliff Kapono. Cliff knows this directly from me. This is not a dig at Cliff Kapono. The headline, he's the smartest surfer on the planet, I thought was clickbaity and also inaccurate. I think he's incredibly smart and he's an incredibly good surfer, but it really discounts a lot of other surfers. There is a stereotype that exists of Spicoli and surfers are dumb kind of a thing. And so you see one who's doing something smart and he's the smartest surfer on the planet all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, this is a disservice to the actual history and tradition of surfing. And so I thought it might be interesting for you and I to actually try to come up with a list of, we don't have to put them first through
Yeah.
10th or first through fifth, but just at least acknowledge the lineage of intelligence with surfing.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. And there are a lot of guys have, there's a guy I don't even know his name, but I remember that he was on the NC, he was on the NSSA and he was making his way and he like, he did nationals. Like he had a chance to maybe like be like a C-level pro or whatever, maybe a B-level photo pro in 1992 or whatever it was. And he went to Ohio State and went to medical school and became a doctor. And there are many, many, many extremely smart medical professionals, such as Cliff Kapono, who, and I've got dear friends that are doctors that are, just, they're kind of brilliant just because they went through the process of med school. And, at least from a medical standpoint, they're a heck of a lot smarter than me, which is, not a very high bar, but so there's a lot of doctors out there that surf, right? And when I was on, this last November, I was on Tavarua, and there was quite a few really, really brilliant doctors that are working on like mRNA vaccines and Alzheimer's and all sorts of crazy chemistry stuff. That's just like next level. So a lot of this depends on how we define smart, like, is it book smart intelligent, or is it like, somebody like Shukin who's, philosophically driven and seeking, and I don't know who's on your list right away. Who comes to your mind?
I mean, think about the era of Bob Simmons, Kivlin, Joe
Hobie.
Quigg.
How about Hobie Alter?
So those guys who are like designers,
Yes.
they work in aerospace. I think Kivlin opened an architecture firm.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He was an architect.
They
Yeah.
they build boats
Hobie.
by yeah, by hand and designing it and all this kind of stuff. This is like high level intellect plus running a business, doing it like um and the highest level of surfing at that time as well. So that's kind of where I initially started thinking of it. But yeah, if
Yeah.
you go through the time, I mean, you always reference Dave Parmenter. Anytime Parmenter's name comes up, you go, that's one of the smartest guys in surfing. And again, how do you measure intelligence? Because Parmenter doesn't have a PhD or an MD, but
He's just super well read. My thing with Parmenter is that like you could bring up a topic, and I don't know Dave that well, but I've spent a little bit of time with him, and you can bring up a topic about this or that. It has nothing to do with surfing. And he's just like pulling references. You can tell he's just well read. So I interrupted. Go ahead.
no, 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 no. It's also like he's intellectual.
Yeah.
Like, and it fits perfectly, dovetails with the being well read, like actually reading books, but it is a thirst for knowledge. And then it's an absorption of the knowledge. And so when you engage with him in a conversation, he is pulling all these different data points because he cares, like I was actually talking to Chaz about this last week or earlier this week about it's the problem for me with the modern era in America is there's no thirst or appreciation even of the alternative point of view. There's a real lack of appreciation for anybody who feels differently than you do. And the flip side of that is just wanting to hear more of your own echo chamber. And so we, of course, see this playing out in politics right now, especially. But it's like, and that's how Instagram is designed and YouTube as well, is just feed me more of my thoughts, amplify what I like. And then if you say something that's the opposite, middle finger, F that. And that's so different than the way that I grew up. When I grew up, the culture was give me the opposite viewpoint to challenge what I feel. And the result of it was a new way of thinking. It wasn't just my way of thinking plus that way of thinking is one plus one equals two. It was they both kind of chisel away a little bit, and you have this kind of redefined way of the best of this and the best of that. And there's a whole new perspective. And that's how things move forward. And so that's how I think of Parmenter is just like not opposed to anything. Give me more of everything, and we'll form some critical analysis that takes us to a new way of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Reasonableness. And I think that's what we're missing is a reasonableness. And Dave, yeah, he's one of them, and frankly, I would throw William Finnegan in there. This guy seems really brilliant. I think any good writer generally is a pretty intelligent human. Um, Warshaw comes to mind. Who's really super smart? Drew Campion. Drew Campion's incredibly intelligent. So obviously I'm kind of leaning towards Steve Hawk, pretty intelligent guy. I'm leaning towards these editorial figures in my life that I sort of looked up to because that's just who's around me in my sphere here. So, but outside of our sphere, who's the most intelligent surfer? Um, I mean, Blake. I think you mentioned Blake. You mentioned designers, right? Quig.
I didn't mention Blake, but yeah, he would be included in that conversation. So what we need to do moving forward, if we really want to get to the bottom of this, assign assign a certain numeric value to their surfing prowess. So
I don't
best
know
surfers.
about that.
No,
How
we
does that
have to
play into it? Okay, we do.
because
What?
it because there is for sure some let's say the highest IQ person that we could think of who's once surfed. Well,
Right.
that's the
Okay, got
smartest surfer in the world, but that
yeah.
they only
He's not
surfed one
really.
time.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. You're right. There needs to be some low bar that you have to meet at least, right?
Yes, we have to set a certain value to the surfing prowess because the fact that Cliff Kapono can do big airs and surf jaws and has a PhD, that's impressive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
have the PhD, but you've only been to Costa Rica in the summers and
Yeah.
you never been barreled, that doesn't count.
Right.
So
Huh.
so
That's interesting.
we got to work on the numbers a little bit, but there
Yeah.
is a certain value assigned to your surfing prowess, and then also a value assigned to how published you are, what your educational level of degree that you earned is. that sort of
Maybe
stuff.
your
What school it came from.
maybe your input towards society or the subculture of surfing, like in a positive way, you know.
Agreed.
I see Mickey Dora going way down the list. Mickey's not
Agreed.
all that. Mickey's not all that.
We will come up with a metric for where this makes sense, and we'll even listen to listener feedback to fine tune the metric. Because again, how do you measure intelligence? So we need to measure
Yeah.
it by a number of different criteria. It'll be a complicated matrix, I get it,
Yeah.
but we'll start applying names, running data,
Yeah.
and some of the smarter mathematicians in the crowd can actually help us form this. But we will spit out a number at the end.
Well, I mean, right now, Cliff Kapono seems like in the top five. I mean, immediately I'm thinking, okay, who else surfs Jaws and rips and is, you know, Greg Long's pretty damn intelligent. Greg Long would be there. Maybe. I mean, if we're putting, you know, like who can surf waves of consequence and also has a PhD as sort of the bar, who can meet Cliff? Who else has a PhD that surfs Jaws?
Well, that's why we got to design the metric of measurement, because
Yeah.
the PhD isn't the end all be all.
And neither is surfing Jaws, right?
Exactly, exactly. So
Yeah.
we will get to the bottom of this to come up with the superficial title of smartest surfer in the world, um, and undermine all the effort that we put into it by assigning a
It'll
label
be
to it. But
incredibly good clickbait for the show.
that's what I'm working
Scott
on.
and David unveiled the smartest surfers in the world, 1 through 5.
Yep, exactly. But I think like I said, I like redefining the stereotype, because far too long
I agree.
surfing's been associated with dum-dums.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The Boardroom Show's coming up in a little while,
Should have
couple of
led with
weeks.
this because I'm excited.
Oh, good. What do you got for me? You got anything?
Well, I'm dropping an interview with Eric Arakawa
Oh,
tomorrow.
oh, great.
You dropped
Yeah.
an interview with Eric Arakawa last week, I believe.
Yep. Yep. That's
I
good.
just I can't love him enough.
I know. I was talking to somebody yesterday about him. He's so humble, you know, he's just a real humble guy. I think it comes from his faith. He's not a real chest beater, you know?
Not at all.
And so
No,
he's
he's
just,
just he's
yeah.
fully and he's very engaged. Like, yeah, he's plugged in. Like, he's engaged with me is what I mean. Like, I don't think he knows a particular ton about me, but he's just like wants to know more, fully participates, and yeah, I just always enjoy any time that I get to spend with him, and the conversation I really thoroughly enjoyed. So I'm excited to be able to share it.
Oh, good. I'm so
And he's
stoked to have him.
honored. He's very honored to be involved in the boardroom, by the way.
Yeah, well, we're super stoked to have him. The surf community is excited about honoring Eric. You know, you and I talked about this the other day, and I think it's something that needs to be excavated more or looked into. But, you know, I mentioned in '82 he shaped the winning board for Michael Ho at the Pipeline Masters, and then in 2025 he shaped the winning board for Jack Robinson at Chopu, both you know contests that were in waves of consequence. So 82 to 92, 92 to 02, 02 to 12, 12 to 22. So we're looking at 40, basically 43, 45 years between winning elite level, CT level events. And and I think last week or 2 weeks ago, we spoke about maybe Brewer's the only other guy. Brewer shaped the 65 board for Hackman at the Duke event, and he shaped the board that Bruce Irons won the Eddie on. And I think that's something like 53 or 54 years. But those large spans of time between world class shapers, surfers winning world class boards by one shaper, I can't think of another. I tried. I've been racking my brain. I think those are the only two with like 40 years, in between the two events, and that's really says a lot because this isn't like yeah, you made a longboard that some guy won an event on in '68, and he won an event at Malibu and last year, like that's kind of not the same thing as world class events and world class waves.
That's a great point. That is a wild distinction to have.
I can't think of another shaper besides Brewer and Arakawa that have that.
Well, contests haven't been around for much longer than that. And then there aren't a lot of shapers who have been around since the beginning of contests.
Yeah.
So that
I
really
mean,
narrows it down.
yeah, I don't know, like maybe Downing, like, because I know Keone Downing won the Eddie on his dad's board, but that would be the last time a Downing probably did anything in an event.
Yeah.
And, what did Downing win the Makaha event in 58 or something on one of his boards? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, say more about the boardroom show.
Well, look, one of the things I'm pretty excited about is Patagonia is offering free wetsuit repair. So you can bring your wetsuit and have it repaired for free at the Boardroom Show Saturday or Sunday. Any brand, it doesn't matter. Patagonia is all about just keeping your wetsuit out of the landfill. So free wetsuit repair by Patagonia. They're bringing their shop down to the show, so they'll be set up. And of course, we're honoring Eric. We've got 8 shapers. Let's see if I can remember them. Rodolfo Klima from Peru. Sounds like you
I'm
know
gonna
him. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna drop an interview with him as well. I think maybe at the end of this month, right at the end of this month, I think is when it's scheduled to drop. So if you want to learn more about Rudolfo from Peru, who by the way has been shaping nearly as long, 40 plus years.
Yeah, he's got an incredible story. I mean, in Peru, when he started, I want to say like late 70s, early 80s, they had to peel fiberglass off of old boards that Westerners, that, Americans or Australians left, and then use that foam to cut down and make, there was no foam, basically. He was, yeah.
So he explained to me that there was civil unrest in Peru when he was a child and his family fled. They had to leave. So he actually grew up in Brazil
Oh, interesting.
for a period of time, which is where he was introduced to surfing and even surfboard shaping to a certain degree. Then came back to Peru and um, surfing was established like as a recreational sport, but there weren't a lot of board builders. But because of its history and those worlds contests and the Club Waikiki and that sort of thing, Gordon Clark actually allowed somebody to license foam manufacturing down there, which I had not heard of before. Because my only understanding of Gordon Clark is that he's incredibly proprietary about all of it.
Yeah.
But apparently, he let somebody try to blow foam down there and it did not work. And as it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like it's
Sounds like a toxic spill in one of the Lima rivers to me.
I don't think it was that. Like Rudolfo said, he got some of the blanks, but they were just full of air, like air holes,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So, um, but that's what people don't understand about. You would think like, here's some, yeah, it's chemical engineering, but we've been doing it for 70 years now. We've got to have a pretty simple process, right? It's just temperamental. Like temperature matters, humidity matters. It needs to be in a controlled environment, kind of a thing. And they just couldn't figure it out. So that didn't last long, but they eventually got to the point where they were then importing blanks. And that's where his business really started to thrive.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
hearing more about him.
Yeah.
So, so, um, Richie Collins from Haliva, Rodolfo, not Rue, Rodolfo, Rodolfo Klima, Barry Vandermeulen from Huntington Beach by way of South Africa, but he's been in Huntington for 30 plus years, I think. Chris Christensen from Encinitas, Adam Warden from here in San Diego, um, Alan White from Cocoa Beach, Florida, Todd Proctor from Ventura, Dan Mann from Coronado, and I feel like I'm missing one other one. That
That's all of it.
that's it. That's 8. Okay, good. So those guys were selected. All of those guys were selected by Eric, by the way, except for Alan White, who won his entry in by winning the East Coast Shape Off at Surf Expo, the one that Ricky Carroll puts on. And I had a really great chat with Alan. It's wonderful getting to meet some guys that I have never met before. And um, Alan's just got that real sort of charming Southern way about him that's just kind and so yeah, I mean, other things to look forward to. Of course, Best in Show. The public's going to get to vote on Best in Show, um, presented by Weekend Vans. And, I've got this thing called the Boardroom International Surfboard Show virtual swag bag, and all attendees are going to get this swag bag. And in it, you can claim coupons. Like you can enter to win a McTavish Bluebird surfboard from last year's show and an e-bike, a Murph e-bike. Naked Viking is giving 20% off all Apex fins if you claim this coupon. Faro Board Bags is offering a padded day travel bag giveaway. They're also offering 20% off. Vance has got free espresso samples, 20% off their clothing. GNS is offering $100 off a custom GNS longboard. Um, there's event discounts, Nathan Gibbs Arts. Anyway, I can't go through all of it, but surfboard specials, Chris Ruddy, free t-shirt. There's freebies. There's all sorts of good stuff in this virtual swag bag, which will be sent out to all of the people that purchase tickets to the show, all the attendees. And if you walk up to the box office, you'll be able to access the virtual swag bag as well. So there's that benefit.
It's not just for ordering tickets online.
No, you can order tickets online. This is something you get in addition. You get when you get your ticket, you get this swag bag that you can go through and you can, you pick the coupon that you want to use that makes sense to you, or use them all, and there's just great deals. There's just great deals available.
So October 11th and 12th in Del Mar at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Obviously, Scott runs the show, but I'm just coming. I'll be there in attendance. And then just to say more about the shapers, Eric Arakawa is the honoree, and then he has 3 different classic designs that the shapers who you mentioned don't know about in advance, but they will get to see on the day of, and their purpose is to replicate that board. And so among the 8, whoever replicates, it's kind of a 4 people shaping against 4 people one-on-one. So 4 people competing against one another. And then whoever gets the best shape out of that bracket moves on to the next bracket, and then down to a final 2, basically, for the 3rd shape. And I presume Eric is going to be doing some of the judging.
Eric's doing all of the judging. Eric will be the judge. And
now, he doesn't have anybody else with him?
He may have somebody, I think maybe his son or one of his shapers from Hawaii. But round 1, Saturday at 10 a.m. is Adam Warden versus Alan White. Round 2, or heat number 2 of round 1, Saturday at noon, is Todd Proctor versus Dan Mann. The next heat, Saturday at 2 p.m., Richie Collins versus Chris Christensen. And the final heat of Saturday, round 1, is Barry Vandermeulen versus Rodolfo Klima. And as I look at this heat draw, I was telling this to somebody else, I can't pick a winner. These guys are all potential winners. Sometimes when we have this event, there's a person that the honoree might pick that's just like a buddy of his or something, and he's just doing it, and they're buds. And you're kind of like, okay, yeah, he might do well, but he's probably not going to make it to the finals. But when I look at this, it's hard for me, especially because of the nature of Eric's designs. They're super high performance. There's very incredibly nuanced tweaks to the board that are going to have to be found. And I just don't see anybody in here that stands out as the winner. I look at all of these guys and I look at them and I go, yeah, I could see him getting the $2,000 and his name engraved on the Mike Marshall Perpetual Trophy as we move into our 18th year of this event.
Well, look, there's certain names that everybody knows because they're popular and their boards are widely available throughout the world, like Chris Christensen, for example. So people might point at him as, oh, he's going to be a favorite. But Rudolfo has the license for Arakawa down in Peru. So, and like I said, he's been shaping for 40 years. So he has as much experience, if not more, than Christensen, plus specific experience with Arakawa. Somebody like Alan White has been shaping for probably 50 years, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a dark horse pick. Adam Warden is a name that you know better, and you see a ton of his boards around, but he's younger. He doesn't have the same amount of experience. So you might point to him as a favorite, but, the dark horse has double the experience. So it'll be very interesting. I'd be curious. I'd be interested. I would enjoy seeing somebody like Rudolfo take the win.
I would love that. I would be super psyched on that. Of course, I'm happy with whoever wins. I do know as I speak to these guys, they're all like, "Oh shoot, I better warm up my get my hand
Yeah.
shaping chops back in order." And so a lot of them are, sort of reintroducing themselves to the process of hand shaping a board, which is, drawing on a template, doing a lot more stuff that you might not do, in day-to-day production shaping.
Rudolph said the same thing to me.
Yeah.
But
So it's going to be
and
good. I'm pretty excited. It's going to be fun. And the boards, I do know the boards. I can't leak that. That's private information because we don't want the shapers to get a leg up on anybody. But the boards are very interesting. It's not what you think. Round one, I think, is going to blow some people's minds when they see the board that they have to shape. And, you know, uh, just be prepared. I would tell those guys, be prepared for anything because I think a bit of a wild card's coming your way in round one.
mm, good to know.
Yeah.
Well, again, October 11th and 12th, come on out, hang out for the weekend, and we'd love to see you. We always really, really enjoy every year, not only getting to meet people, new stories. Like I'm always impressed and surprised by who comes up as fans.
Yeah, and live music. We've got live music as we always have. Tower Seven's playing. A band from Ventura's coming up, Wildflower and the Bees, and then there's like some sort of like kind of Hawaiian hula type thing. So there's a little bit of different flavor for everyone musically, and of course, there's a beer garden and food and beverage, and it's just and great deals on boards and wetsuits. Colby Plus will be there giving awesome deals. There's some Narval wetsuits. Patagonia, of course, will be there with their wetsuits. It's going to be quite an event, and people are fired up.
Yeah, surfboards for sale too. I mean, people go all out. The board builders themselves go all out to bring showstoppers, and boards are available for sale. So if you're in the market for something, wait until that weekend, 2 weeks from now, to buy a board. Walk
And
out with it.
yeah, for sure. And one of the things that's becoming quite quite interesting to the attendees, like that they're really getting a kick out of it, is getting to walk the best in show exhibit and vote on the board that they think is the best in show. And the best in show is not just for exhibitors; it's open to any board builder in the world. And we've got hobbyists bringing boards in, we've got professionals bringing boards in. So it's a lot of fun to walk that, and then you decide which one you think is the best in show, and you place your vote, and that's interactive, brings everybody into the community, and so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Well, Scott, I want to wrap up with a couple of must-see moments, Duke, Kook, that sort of stuff, but also Surfrider Foundation. Let's give them a shout out, surfrider.org. I'm doing a podcast with them now. Last episode we did was on offshore oil drilling, just the topic of offshore oil drilling, which I found to be actually really enlightening because I've seen those offshore oil rigs off Huntington Beach my entire life. And it's like, I know they're unsightly. I know they're not good, but I'm using oil. I'm driving past it in a car right now using oil. So
Yeah.
there is a dependency. Like,
Oh, yeah.
what is our relationship with it? Like, do we actually need it, and or can we transition into something else? And
Oh,
so
we definitely need it during the transition. There's no doubt about that.
we need it today. Do we need it tomorrow is the question. Or is
No,
there a
fission.
much better way to do
There's
it?
going to be fission. We're going to be if the regulatory apparatus would lighten the load a little bit and let us build new technologies. We got to build it or we're going to be left behind. China's doing it. So
So you
fish,
did listen to the podcast?
no, but I listen to energy podcasts actually. I'm kind of into energy as a sector, as a category.
Yeah, good. You
Yeah.
should be.
Yeah.
So yeah, listen to that to learn more about this or why it's even politicized. Surfrider.org, become a member, listen to the podcast, all that sort of stuff. They're doing incredible work and they have been for 40 years. Long history of success too.
Absolutely. Become a member of the Surfrider Foundation. I mean, my thing is, we talked about it earlier, like getting in the ocean, the way it makes us feel. Just imagine, and there are places, one of them close by, Imperial Beach, you can't get in the ocean. You will be sick. And, you know, I
Yep.
just don't understand how you can't be a member of the Surfrider Foundation, quite frankly.
Great call.
Although I
Um,
should say I'm not a member. I
time,
probably need to, I do put my monies towards uh, beneficial ocean conservation causes.
well, time to re-up. Look, I became a member when I was 16 years old. I remember specifically.
Yeah.
I had just gotten a checkbook, and it was like I remember writing a check.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there were years where I wasn't for whatever reason. It lapsed and I wasn't paying attention, but I am now. So you can still get involved. And then the other thing, must see moment presented by Treeswax, treeswax.com, petroleum free surf wax, and Christian from Treeswax will also be at the Boardroom Show, I believe.
Absolutely. Christian will be there. The Trees Wax guys have a booth, and you should swing by and talk to Christian and get the lowdown on their high performance surfing wax, which is petroleum free. Speaking of a clean ocean.
Yeah. So listen, listeners, you go up, ask Christian, how do you make wax out of rocks? It's rocks and it's limestone, it's trees. I want to know how you can take a rock and make wax out of it. That's what you should find out from Christian.
Yeah.
And then so if you don't come to the boardroom show, you can get 20% off your trees wax order. Use promo code SPIT at treeswax.com. But my must-see moment presented by Treeswax is John Florence's latest Instagram clip
Oh my
that
God.
on that hollow left.
Yeah. That's incredible.
He's like, I had a thing in my notes for like the last 2 months as a topic that you and I can kind of discuss at some point, which is there best surfing behind them? And John is a guy that we can apply that question to. Gabriel Medina is a guy we can apply that question to, and maybe we will in the future. But when I saw that clip of John, because he's not on tour, we don't see a lot of him. He's had injuries. He's getting older. He's got a family. His interest is diffused because of that. He's sailing for, you know, thousands of miles, comes across this reef, drops a clip. And you're like, nope, his best surfing is not behind him. He just blew doors on finals day at Cloudbreak. Like crazy town.
I
So
know. It's so amazing. And it speaks to a couple of things. It speaks to one, something we talk about often, which is, does the best surfing get done with contest jersey on? And the answer is, of course, no, generally speaking. That doesn't mean there aren't incredible performances, which of course there are. And it also speaks to this sort of um, like this letting go thing that we often refer to Kelly. Like it just seemed like John was just so free. Like there was absolutely no attachment to him other than he's going to cut loose. And I mean, he cut loose. It was kind of reminded me of like when we wouldn't see clips from Dane for a couple months, and then you saw a clip from Dane, like this was about, I don't know, 10 years ago. And you're like, holy shit, this guy's still insane. But yeah, John's still got it. And that clip just made you go, wow. Some of that upside down backside carves that it was just, and how good
well,
do those Pizels look? I mean, John makes everything look good, I guess.
he's going so fast. He even says that in the caption. I just want to go fast, I think is what he said. But he's going the wave looks like cloud break. He's going so fast, and then because of that level of speed, like you said, he's almost upside down, but he's on edge, and it's like this super fine line of edge between falling. But when you're going that fast, you can go upside down like you can on a roller coaster, you know? So
Yeah.
he's just like at an angle that seems like it's defying physics, but it's because of the speed. But he's so precisely tuned that he's able to do it perfectly. And yeah, it's just you watch the clip and you're just like, well, that's the best serving I've seen in a while. No
Yeah,
questions asked.
exactly. There's not even a thought, right? It's just, that's the best surfing we've seen in a long time, you know? And then, you know, is there best surfing behind them? Well, John's answered that question. And the thing about John is that we always, we, I visualize John, or I categorize John as a free surfer that, oh, by the way, is really good in competition. Gabe Medina, I see as a competitive surfer. I don't consider him a free surfer. I sense that he's surfing for points, even if he doesn't feel like it. And so, will his best surfing be behind him? Will we see free surfing of Gabe where we're like, wow, he's actually kind of you know, taken the drapery of competition off of his vibe, and now he's just cutting loose like Clay Marza would cut loose or something, you know. I'm not so sure about that. I hope that we do get to see that from Gabe, but I'm not
Well,
sure if he can eliminate that from his style of surfing because he was sort of brought up in that sort of I have to compete to be successful to not have a really horrible job in Brazil.
look, everybody is on their own journey and ever evolving, so maybe we will see it in the future. All I know is that when I see those guys post an Instagram clip, either Gabriel Medina or Italo, it's either in a wave pool, Italo specifically, or Gabriel Medina surfing some closed out beach break, doing a crazy air, or navigating out of a doggy door, or maybe even getting towed into the wave. But it's not in the South Pacific on bombing world-class surf.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're prioritizing something that is different than surfing the best waves in the world.
Yeah, that's a problem. We
For
need to
me, it
see
is. For me as a
waves.
viewer, it
The
is.
waves are
Yeah.
the stars. The waves are the stars.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. All
Anyways,
right.
I gotta go grill some
Yeah.
steaks.
Okay. Go get it done. Look, until next time, adios and aloha.